everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to be in here, listening to me one more time about a little presentation I have prepared for all of you. I appreciate everyone that is connected via online, and obviously my husband that is here helping me as well. Thank you so much, everyone. Today, I want to talk about a topic that I think is very important to learn about. This is a topic that everyone deals with in a daily basis. So, my topic for today is conflict. Like I said, this is something that we deal with constantly, all the time, not only in our personal life, but also at work, at school, in the church, all the time. And I think this is why I wanted to talk about the topic. I think it's important to learn and understand what conflict is and how we can make it more productive, so we can have a situation where we feel confident with whatever the resolution ends up being. So let's talk first a little bit about what conflict is. Growing up, I always was told two stories about conflict. The first one was that conflict was bad and that you should avoid it at all costs. The second story that I was told is that there's always a winner and a loser at the resolution of a conflict. Even though these stories are very common and they're told many times, they are not 100% true. And I want to talk about that for a little bit. First, we know, or it's told to us, that conflict is bad and we should avoid it. When I have learned after doing some research is that conflict isn't the problem, avoiding it is. Understanding how to deal with conflict will make things move a lot smoother and will make things a lot easier to deal with. Making an open environment where conflict can come and happen is the best and the most healthy way for you to deal with conflict. The second story that we are told is that there's always a winner and a loser. With the winner and the loser, there's actually three different type of resolutions that can happen. The first one, the one that we already know, a winner or a loser, you're sad, I'm happy, that's it. The second one, lose and lose. You're sad, I'm sad, no one gets what they wanted. And my favorite one, and actually the most healthy way to resolve conflict, is a win-win situation. In a win-win situation, both parties are happy. This doesn't mean that both parties end up with what they wanted from the very beginning, but that there was some kind of accommodation or some kind of accommodation that can help them get to that happiness and comfort in a win-win situation. But how can we get to a win-win situation? That's what I want to talk about and teach you guys about. I have created a 6-step guide on how to get to a win-win resolution. So let's go over the steps together while I explain a little bit of the things. First step, identify the problem and the unmet needs. Identifying the problem is probably one of the most important steps that you need to follow. This is very important because if you are not aware of what the problem is, it can make things a lot more difficult to find a resolution. I'm gonna put an example that we're gonna be using through the presentation of the steps, so we can start relating and seeing in a real life scenario how it looks like. For example, let's say that in my house, I am the responsible of cooking, while my husband is the responsible of cleaning the dishes. One day I get home and the dishes are not done. What is actually the unmet need? What is actually the problem in this? It's maybe not so much that the dishes are not clean, it's the fact that I'm not able to cook properly with the dishes all dirty, and it's time I have to take out that I have to end up doing so I'm able to meet my responsibilities. So that is the main root and cause of this issue. Let's move to the second step. Once we have identified the issue, we need to set a time to talk. Has it ever happened to you that you are having a very long day, work was really hard, and a class, one of your teachers calls you out, or you get a bad grade in an exam, you're just exhausted, and you're excited to get home and relax and rest. The moment you open the door, your roommate is there, or your husband or your partner or whoever is there waiting for you, comes to you and says, hey, it was your turn to do the dishes and you didn't do them. And that's the first thing that you hear once you come through the door. Isn't that so frustrating? I know. It can be a lot of frustrating because you were not ready for it, because maybe it wasn't the time for you to be talking about it. Obviously, we understand the roommate perspective. It is important as for them, but that's why it is so important to set a time to talk. Both parties are not only going to be prepared and are going to know what to anticipate, but they're also going to be in the right mindset. Obviously, if I'm stressed and things are happening in my life and someone comes and tells me you haven't done the dishes, I'm gonna react negatively. Well, if I'm ready and I'm prepared and I'm already expecting some type of confrontation in a way, I can act a lot more calmer and things can run a lot smoother. So let's move to step number 3. Share your view. Now, I'm not saying share your solutions, share all of your frustrations, share exactly everything that happened, share your view. We're gonna use the example that we were using before. I have come home, I see the dishes are not done. I come to my partner, and instead of lashing out and complaining and doing fault and why you didn't do this and things like that, I'm gonna share my view. Hey, I had a very stressful day at work. I was expecting to be able to come home and make some dinner really quick, eat dinner and be able to rest. But this is something that it's not going to happen since the dishes are not done. What's going on? And after that's when the next step comes. Also a very important step. Listen to the other person. It is very easy for us to understand our feelings and to empathize with ourselves, but it's also important to understand where is the other person or the other party, organization, whatever you're dealing with, is coming from. So yes, I might have a very stressful day. Yes, things may have happened to me, but what if my husband comes to me and says, I understand it was my turn to do the dishes and I didn't do them. I actually got some extra hours at work, so I just came home 15 minutes ago and I just haven't had the time to do the dishes. I understand that. I know that we're not doing it to make me upset or to make my life more difficult. It's because they were just in a situation that it was not possible for them. And it's also valid to happen to say, I forgot. Apologize, understand the importance of it, and then continue on. The next step is a very difficult step. Brainstorm solutions. Now, when we say brainstorm, I don't say find the solution. That's not the step yet. We need to first find ideas or solutions at the very beginning. This is very important because when we brainstorm, we are able to find different type of ways of accommodating to each other. If I try immediately to solve the problem, it can cause that we stay in a bubble almost, where we just stay in the most simple solutions that may not work for the both of us. So while brainstorming solutions, we talk about, okay, we can, in the situation that we were talking about, we can either get something to eat out, we can work together and do the dishes together so to finish them faster. Even though maybe we don't have the money to eat out, but it's still just a solution that we're throwing out there to figure out what is gonna be the best for us in a situation that we are. And then once you have brainstormed the solutions, you need to go ahead and find the solution that will be a win-win situation. Both parties need to be happy with it. And the third step is follow up. This step cannot be skipped. It is said that things are easier said to be done. So following up and make sure that this still works for the person in whatever amount of time, depending on the situation, it is very, very important. So this is my little set guide, so you can find a win-win situation when you're dealing with conflict. I hope that you guys enjoy it and that you were able to learn a little bit in this presentation. Thank you so much.